Welcome back to episode 5 of Inside the Wubble. I am here with Amanda Zahui B, one of my favorites.
Gang.
Amanda, you already know. I've shouted you out. We've talked on Instagram Live. You've been on my podcast. Now you're joining the web series. I always enjoy our conversations. So, it's only right to pick your brain a little bit more. And I'm excited to have you. A few things to cover, and I'll try to get you in and out of here as best I can. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Like this season is hectic.
Right.
With 3 games a week and not a lot of rest. But I'm doing well though.
So for you? You went from last time we had spoken on the platform, you were in Sweden quarantining again, and then you go from a bubble, essentially quarantine yourself in Sweden just to go to the States and having to do it all over again. But in this case, It's a little bit more extreme because you can't leave the campus you're on. So
I was like, no.
You can't go anywhere. At least when you're in Sweden, you could go to like stores and stuff, obviously following COVID-19 guidelines. Being inside the Wubble, how has the adjustment been for you personally?
I mean, it's not as bad as it sounds. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we locked down, but like the campus is beautiful. Like there's so much nature. Like I'm living with 2 great humans, like the
Right.
Kias. So like I don't mind it at all. I mean, if I need personal space, literally I just come into my room.
Right.
But we are just like, we click very well, the 3 of us.
Mm-hmm.
So like I haven't felt yet that like I'm in the way or they are bothering me or anything like that. And then like we don't really have much like off time to actually do stuff because we are tired.
Right.
So like it's fine in here.
Actually, talking about your relationship with the Kias, the 3 of you have a show on the internet where you guys literally just dive into your experiences. So where did the idea for you guys having your own little web show on the internet come from?
I don't know. Like I literally have no idea. And I think we just started recording things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just sent it to Nurse and she just like magically put everything together so well. But like we actually need to have someone with a camera all the time.
Yeah.
Because there's shit that happens and I'm like, I live with you guys. Like you guys are my sisters. All right.
Let me ask you this. If you can go back to your time in Minnesota, could Kia Stokes and Kia Nurse be your college roommates for 3 to 4 years?
Yeah. No, actually, yes. Because they're so much fun and it's like, we like the same things. And like, sometimes like we just all sitting like in the living area on our iPads or whatever, watching our own shows.
Yeah.
And, like chilling or just chatting. Like after games, we sit and eat dinner together and we just talk. And it's like, me and Stokey, even Nurse, like we have had so many heart-to-hearts.
Right.
Like early on the Lubble experience.
So you, Stokes, Nurse, and Clarendon are the only real veterans on the team who've played for a number of years, at least more than 2 years in the league now. And you're essentially on a team full of I don't want to say kids because they're obviously adults, but of young players, of rookies. And obviously, when you're playing on a young team, especially at a professional level, there is growing pains. And it is hard to just all of a sudden contend for a title with such a young team. But being the veteran with Stokes and Nurse, how have you obviously tried to be a mentor? Because obviously you guys are building towards your future. And how has it been being a leader and, taking the young players under your wing?
Yeah, I mean, we came into the season knowing like we're most likely not going to win a championship this year. It's a rebuilding and it's a growing process and season, like you said, for the future. And really just like trying to take all the good things that our vets gave to us.
Right.
It's like just being as positive as possible and trying to direct towards the right direction. But allowing the other players to also lead us.
Right.
You know, like, no, I think you should do this, or I
Mm-hmm.
like it when you whatever. So it's different because like there are times where I'm like catch myself waiting for someone else to lead because
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to having a Tanisha or a Tina,
Right.
you know, and I was like, no, dude, like you are the one people waiting
Right.
on. So it's like,
Right.
because it happens so fast. Like usually
Mm-hmm.
when you're in your fifth, sixth year, like I'm in my sixth, Stoke fifth, like Nurse is only on her third
Right.
year. Like
Right.
Nurse is technically still on a rookie contract.
Right. Right.
And me and Stokes are like in the middle of like becoming vets, and all of a sudden
Mm-hmm.
now we have to be vets.
Right.
So just like taking all the positivity and like the things that we did and like the people did or said or acted or however, we just trying to like burn that to the side so we don't bring that into this new culture that is being built.
Right. I know for some people, they don't usually like being in leadership positions because some people feel like, you got to be more vocal than you want to be. Some
Yeah.
people are, more just act by doing. And you just said, you're the vet now. What would you say your leadership style is like?
I feel like being vocal and like
Mhm.
speaking up, like I always been very vocal, but now it's like I have to.
Right.
Even when I'm unsure of things, like I have to go with the things that I'm sure of and speak up on
Mhm.
that. But also like just leading by example.
Mhm.
Like there's been games where I haven't like been hitting my shots, right?
Right.
My shots haven't been going in. So like I have to rebound. I have to communicate on defense. And just all those small things. Like it's
Right.
easy to get in your head because you're not playing great on offense, but there's so much more to basketball than just
Right. Right. It can
offense.
affect the game in multiple ways.
Yeah, so doing that, I think Stokes is a great example of someone who got thrown into a leadership role,
Mhm.
and she's not necessarily the most vocal person, but you constantly hear her now. And on
Right.
top of it, you see how hard she really works.
Right.
Like no one thought she could shoot threes. She out of here hitting them. Like,
Right.
wait.
Right.
And that's just like proof of what an amazing leader she is.
Right. For you, obviously when you come into these games, there's no crowd. It's essentially an open gym. And you don't like I don't even know, do you guys even have crowd noise in your games?
No,
No, so there's no
I'm
crowd noise.
shooting fire.
So if so in your games they're so quiet. How is that experience for you? Do you enjoy Have you learned from this that you prefer the crowd, or do you kind of like the empty gym atmosphere of it?
I love the crowd.
Right.
I love it. I love it when the people are with me. I love it when the people are against me. Like I love that. I
Yeah.
feed off that, you know. But I think the weirdest part is just the warm ups.
Hmm.
Like where it's dead quiet, right? And then
Right.
throughout the game, like you're so focused on what's happening in the game that it's like
Hmm.
you don't really think about it.
Right.
But during the
Right.
warm ups, they be like, "Here comes the New York Liberty," and usually we get fired, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay,
So you guys were
that's it.
supposed. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
So I was just gonna say you guys were supposed to play in Barclays this year, and obviously COVID-19 put a wrench in that. But now that playing in the Wubble, how excited are you to debut in Barclays?
Yeah, that's gonna be so dope. Like, it's just so unfortunate that we're not in there. I was really looking forward
Yeah,
to it.
same.
Um, whenever God decides the time is right, it's gonna be greater than what we possibly could think of.
Right.
So I'm just trying to think in those lanes, kind
Hmm.
of, where it's like, all right, he holding out because when it's time, it's about to be popping.
Right. So for you, having to be inside the Wubble, could you imagine? Obviously you are the leader for a lot of rookies right now. Could you imagine being a rookie your first year in the WNBA and have to go to this Wubble?
No, I'm too crazy. I would have lost my mind. Like, I would have been like, what the hell is this? And then it's like, you see everyone all the
Hmm.
time.
Right.
Like, you see the team that just beat you.
Hmm.
You see the refs that gave you that technical. Like, it's so many emotion that is like
Right.
holding it in.
The referees are on the campus with you.
They literally in the hotel.
Oh wow! I didn't know that. I don't know why I didn't figure that, but it didn't even cross my mind that the refs are in the bubble. So how is that a little bit awkward? Like, imagine a ref just throws you out the game or gives you a tech, and then the next day you see them just eating outside.
Yeah, so that's kind of it. Like we were by the pool, we had a pool workout, and some of the refs were laying there tanning, and then you see like eating or drinking coffee because there's Starbucks there, and it's like I have to be a professional. Like I can't cuss
Right,
you out because
right.
that's how I felt during the game
Hmm.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was like, but as a rookie, I probably would have like looked at them like,
Why are you out
you
here?
know.
Yeah.
But now it's like shit, I'm on my sixth year. Like I actually had to
Yeah.
act like a professional.
Right. You are the example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get
So
it.
it's weird, but it's like what to
Yeah.
do.
It's different. The whole circumstance is just different. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole
Yeah.
the whole thing is different. So what have you been doing personally in the Wubble? Like how have you stayed? Like have you picked up any new hobbies? Are you Netflix? What are you doing to kind of keep your brain like if you want to just disconnect from basketball for a second because you're in like basketball heaven right now. So how do you
Yeah.
disconnect?
Um, I haven't been reading as much as I wanted to. You know, I
Mhm.
have a book club with an AU team from New York, and we're reading Maya Angelou right now. So I've been reading that for that. But really, I haven't been doing nothing. Like, I go shoot extra, I go to the weight room. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, I go get treatment. I think this is how I really realized that my life is boring outside of basketball because I'm so okay with doing nothing.
Right, right.
Like, I just lay on the couch and I'm like, hey, you guys.
I'm gonna be honest though. I will have to say, contrary to that, I think most athletes are boring and don't really realize it, especially when you're in season.
Yeah.
Because I remember, in my experience, just when I was playing in college, like after I just spent my whole day going to class and working out and then watching film, there's nothing I really want to do. Like I just want to lay in my
Yeah.
bed and watch TV or do whatever homework
No,
I got left and go to sleep.
seriously.
It's not much to do.
Yeah. Like I burn a lot of candles. I think that's like I knew I love candles, but now like I burn them all. I don't know. It gives me like sanity, I guess.
There's a
It's
candle
like
burning behind you right
calm.
now.
Yes, and it smells so good. But yeah.
um, what about have you been? Do you cook or do you? I know they cater some of your meals after games and stuff like that, but have you found yourself
Yeah.
cooking at least, or it's just like you're just
Less
eating what
than
they
I
give you?
usually do.
Oh, really?
I literally I'm going away from everything. Like I love to cook. But
Uh
like I be dreading cooking. Like I have to cook tonight. And
huh.
I'm just like,
You're not
I want to
excited
make a
about it.
peanut butter jelly sandwich. No, like I'm just so tired. It's like, do I really want to cook? No, you
Right.
have to.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's you would think you would do more, but I could 100% understand that because I mean, thinking about speaking to a lot of and WNBA players now is a lot of you just talk about like your schedule is so regimented that it's like those little moments you have, you kind of just want to relax because you don't really get to do it.
Do
But
nothing.
yeah,
Like,
so I do want to shift gears a little bit. Obviously, I've talked about this with multiple of all the athletes, and this is just because I feel like as somebody who has this platform, it is in my doing my part in all this to keep the conversation going about social injustice and racial inequality in the obviously in this country and around the world. For you, I say it, and I feel like I'm repetitive when I say this, but I say the WNBA is the first league to really tap in to racial injustice because they've been doing it before the other professional leagues really started taking it serious. And
mhm.
for you, I even so obviously with the Liberty, you guys have even been the team itself has been vocal about Black Lives Matter, racial injustice, crimes against Black women in this country. For you personally, how's it been? Obviously, representing an organization that supports you as a Black woman and the things that you deal with being a Black woman,
Yeah.
but also, your own personal fight in this.
No, it's great, and I spoke about it in an interview prior to this that before I even got back to the US, we had a Zoom call. Well, we had multiple Zoom calls, but the whole organization was there, right? So the owners and everybody was there, and we talked about how we were feeling and what we could do to change this world, you know. And it's just it's uplifting to have, especially white males, doing their part in it.
Yeah.
And pushing for change. So, you know, and we have our Black Lives Matter shirts that are just New York's, and we also have Black Trans Lives Matter shirts. Right. So it's comforting knowing that, like, we are actually walking the walk and not just talking it.
Yeah.
And it's tough because it's
Of
like an
course.
everyday reminder.
Yeah.
Like, we wake up and we're like, okay, we Black and we women, we know this. But now it's like every game we see it, say her name, Black Lives Matter. Like, it's like a constant reminder that we have to keep on fighting because people don't value us the way we're supposed to be valued.
I agree. And I'm, as somebody who runs an org now for, you know, obviously for racial inequality and, you know, supporting our community, I 100%, I feel you on that. Like, you gotta, at the end of the day, saying it over and over is like, this is the first time I felt like in my lifetime, at least, you know, I'm speaking totally from my experiences, that as a world and as a community, you know, across the board, like, we are finally really being consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy that it takes a pandemic and the death of a Black man, a Black woman, for this to happen, because these injustices have already happened. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm a big believer in better late than never. You know what I'm saying? And it is I don't want to say humbling, but it feels good to see that we are, you know, and I'm speaking for not just myself, but you, the WNBA, all the other leagues that are part of this movement, really fighting to raise the standard. And as somebody who interviews athletes, I do recognize that athletes have, especially professional athletes, have some of the biggest platforms to influence so many people, children, adults. Like, I always, like, that whole shut up and dribble nonsense. Like, I hated that, you know, just off the strength of, first of all, the arrogance of the comment, but not just, athletes are humans too. We go through the same human experiences as everyone else. And although you wear a number in your last name, you play for an organization and make money for doing it, it doesn't make you any less Black, you any less woman. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't change anything. If you have to fight for something, then it's no shut up and dribble. Like, don't even get me, I will go on a rant for hours about that. But athletes have these immaculate platforms that are huge. And I'm a big believer that athletes should speak as much as you feel is helpful to the community, because not everybody's doesn't always listen to politicians. Everybody doesn't always listen to the government officials, but the people that they can personally connect with, they'll hear the message. And I think you gotta keep speaking up. It's very important.
Yeah, I agree. I think our platform is greater than what we really realize. You know, sometimes we're like, okay, I'm just a basketball player, like, that's what I do. But we inspire so many people in so many different ways, and we spark different topics and different emotions, that we plant seeds. You know, everyone listens to seeds, everything we do. We are constantly under the microscope, right? So using that for not just for your own good, but for the better of this world, and, like, for the people coming behind us, is so important, you know. And, like, even if you don't know what to say, like, speaking your mind and being true to who you are is very important, because now people see, like, she's more than just a basketball player. Yeah, she might not have all the knowledge when it comes to Black Lives Matter, but she's hurting with us, or
Right.
she feels this way, and she can help us by keep on speaking up, or whatever
Right.
the case might be.
Right. I 100% agree. And just overall, I think too, this is the one time where I think most athletes now are going to realize how big their platform is if they didn't notice already. Because this is one of those moments where, you know, people want to see what you have to say about this. They want to hear your input, and they care. You know what I'm saying? They actually genuinely care. So if any athlete who's watching this is going to watch this and listen, like if you ever felt like you were silenced or couldn't say how you feel, this is a time more than ever where speak up. Like you say her name, say their names, speak up. It is important. And the fight is not over. It's not going to be over for a while, but you know, we got to just
That's the
one step at
thing.
a time. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say it's not over, and it's not gonna be over for who knows how many years.
Right.
But like normalizing the fact that we can speak about topics and subject outside of our sport is so important, right?
Right.
Like going into a press conference, say, you know what? I don't want to talk about the game. I want to talk about why France is trying to colonize Ivory Coast.
Right.
Now you didn't know that France, a European country in 2020, trying to colonize an African country in 2020. Now you know. Now you're gonna do your research. Now you're gonna be like, shit. You know what? They throwing Africans off the boats, and because nobody wants to buy them because they are slaves. Like you don't know all this now. You know what I'm saying? I'm creating conversation that is going to be spread out.
So talk to me about the French obviously trying to colonize Ivory Coast. And I've actually, you know, I follow you, so I'm always in tune to what you're up to. I know you had I think you were in an interview and talked about this a little bit. And I'm glad I have you here. So talk to me a bit about that. You know, why, you know, you are now, obviously with everything going on, we're vocal about everything that is technically, that's just not right. And people don't know, like, you're from, your dad is from the Ivory Coast?
Yeah, my dad's from the Ivory Coast.
Right. Your dad's from Africa. Right. So, you know, most people think you're from Sweden, but your dad is from the Ivory Coast. So, you know, what is that fight been like for you?
I mean, it's been going on since forever. But it's like, it's ridiculous. My dad is there now, right? He was supposed to, he left in February to go see my grandparents, and he was supposed to come back in March. He's still stuck because the French government went down and closed the airport and took all the airplanes because they like, no, you're not traveling, right? They also, when it was time to vote last time, they kidnapped our president, the people's president. They kidnapped him, put him in Hague in Belgium, and put a French president there. And brought all of the French military there because they still want to be under control. They still want to colonize. They want us to use their money. We are reading about their history in school. So it's still very old school. And no one talks about it because nobody really gives a damn about African countries. So we are voting this upcoming fall, and it's tough. Because it's like, I have family members in the military. Like it's possible that it's gonna be a war because the people of the Ivory Coast are tired of being, you know, suppressed and being mistreated. And then the French people are like, well, we were there in 18 whatever, so it's our country because y'all speak French. And it's like, really, it's not. You're being a racist, and you just want slaves, and it's not happening. So it's scary. It's really scary because it's like 2020. There's probably gonna be multiple wars. You know.
Hope not. So you talked. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I just said it's tiring.
So you just talked about voting. You know, I think voting right now, in history, at this point in history, voting might be one of the most important things you can do right now. I think that it is. I mean, and some people don't, and especially for young people, what am I? Gen Z, my group, we we fail. I feel like a lot of us in my generation do fail to realize the significance of their vote, especially as someone that grows up, I guess, I mean, inner city, grew up in like an inner city, I guess, don't realize the importance of voting. And I've been very keen on making sure that you understand that it is, once you turn 18, it is your civic duty to vote. Because regardless if you don't think it affects you, it affects you. 100% affects you. How have you been pushing the voting narrative, at least for, obviously, I don't know if you're not an American citizen, right?
I can't vote in the US.
Right. So you can only vote in Sweden, and can you vote in Ivory Coast?
No.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
have I only have for Sweden.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so that's like, I wouldn't say I'm pushing for voting because I'm like, it affects me because I spend a lot of time here, and like the politics in the US affects the whole world.
Right.
So, I'm trying to keep up with it as much as possible. But I'm very big on like self-education.
Yeah.
So like we have conversations and then it's like, well, I don't really know who to vote for. Well, you can do your research.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you actually have to vote.
Right.
If I could vote, I would do my research and I will vote for who will be the best, candidate or whatever. So yeah. That's like a weird spot for me. Because I'm like, yeah, get Trump out the White House, but don't vote for Kanye. And then it's like, I can't vote for none of them or whoever,
Yeah, but you work in the States, you spend, obviously.
I pay taxes here.
Right, you pay taxes here, and at the end of the day, you pay taxes here, you work here. Even if you're playing overseas, you at least spend 3 to 4 months of your life every year in the States. So even if you can't actually vote, things that happen in this country affect you directly. And you telling people to self-educate themselves about voting, it's still just as important. You know what I'm saying? Because you do need to do the research on who you're voting for. You need to understand how these things affect you. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's just about doing our part. You know what I'm saying? And you're doing your part, and that's all that matters. At the end of the day, all that really matters, that us as Black people in this country, in the world, we do our part. Because at the end of the day, we spend a lot of our time I'm not even say letting, because that's not true. We spend a lot of time dealing with a bunch of other people writing our history for us, writing our textbooks for us, setting our narratives for us for what we think. And now, as you can see, like, for example, in the States, like now we're finally pulling down statues of these Confederate slave owners, like that they should have been down, you know what I'm saying? But that self-education, people are starting to tap in and realize, like, whoa, we have a racist standing tall in the center of our town, and nobody bats an eye about it. But self-education, people are educating themselves now. People are banding together, figuring out what's wrong. So you're 100% right with that. Amanda, before I let you go, this is the last thing I ask all my guests. I know you're in this Wubble, and obviously you can't go anywhere. But if there's one thing you miss most about the free world, what is it that Amanda Zahui B misses most?
You know what? Because like we're in season, and it's like, what would I usually do? I probably just miss going to a rooftop bar.
Yeah.
Like, like, or just like going to a coffee shop. Like, it does, like something chill. Like, it don't have to be a turning up, but like me and Beck Allen, we just look at each other after practice, like, mate, all right, cool. Going to a rooftop bar, and we just sit in the sun.
How much do you miss Beck?
Oh, you have no idea. Like, you have no idea.
Oh man, for those who don't know, Rebecca Allen plays for New York Liberty, but she opted out of this season.
Like, it's making me so
Yeah.
sad.
Beck, if you're watching, we miss you.
So much. We miss you too. Like, please come to the bubble.
I don't know. COVID-19, man. I don't know. But
I know.
if I could listen, I always say, listen, if somebody gave me a media pass to be in any bubble, I would be on I'll be on the first ticket, and I would be there annoying, harassing everybody.
Yeah.
You guys miss me now, but you'd hate me because I'm gonna be the media. You're gonna have to talk to me. We're gonna have to have a conversation.
It's okay. I like talking to other people.
I appreciate that. Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. This was
Thank
great. I
you.
actually learned a lot. I think this was one of my very, not the most, but such a very insightful conversation. Just because I like that whole thing with the Ivory Coast and France. Like, those are the things that happen in the world that don't get the attention or don't garner the attention that they need. And like, this is why we do this. You know what I'm saying?
This is why we
This is
do
why we do
this.
this. This is why. And thank you so much, and I appreciate you. Good luck the rest of the way. Obviously, I'll still be in communication. We'll talk soon, but I appreciate you and thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
So much love.
Bye, Amanda.
Bye.